You are not going to believe what's been happening to Hamilton sellers. Bank of Canada data, local Hamilton sales, mortgage renewals. They're all pointing to the same brutal reality. Parts of the Hamilton market are now flashing warning signs we haven't seen since the financial crisis. In just the last few months, detached homes in neighborhoods like Kirkendall, Delta, Binbrook, and Stoney Creek have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars below the peak. That's not losing a bit of equity. That's families walking away from the closing table with losses they never saw coming. At the same time, inventory has blown past 2,000 active listings. Buyers have pulled back, and here's the brutal part. If your home doesn't sell in the first 3 weeks, it's not just taking a little longer, it's sitting, losing momentum, and bleeding value every single day it's on the market. Now, this is important. This isn't about panic. It's about being in the small group of sellers who actually see the market clearly before it's too late. Because here's the part almost nobody's talking about. This isn't the bottom. This is just the early stage of the reset. Right now, we're in the warning stage, not the recovery stage. And more Hamilton homeowners are rolling into renewals at today's higher rates, feeling the payment shock for the first time. So if this is what's happening now, with only a portion of renewals hitting these 4 and 5% rates, what happens when the rest of Hamilton has to reset their mortgages? At today's costs, not yesterday's, let me show you exactly what's coming next and what to do about it. First, why thousands of Hamilton sellers are stuck without realizing it. Second, the 3 price signals buyers are watching that most sellers completely miss. Third, the 3 critical steps you need to take to avoid regret in this reset. And whatever you do, don't skip step 2. It's the most expensive mistake I see Hamilton sellers make. All right, let's start with the first one. Why so many sellers are stuck and don't even realize it. They're pricing based on outdated data because they're listening to the first agent who tells them what they want to hear just to lock them into a 90-day contract. That's why so many listings are hitting the market at almost peak pricing. Even though we're still well below the top, it's not that sellers are greedy. They're being misled by agents who want the listing more than they want the result. And that's how you become the next horror story in this market. Before we get to what's coming next, you need to see why so many sellers are already stuck. Without realizing it, here's what most sellers miss, and it's costing them thousands because buyers today, they're judging your listing before they ever step foot in your home. They're on their phone at night, scrolling through photos, looking at price, zooming in on the kitchen, the bathrooms, the yard, and they're deciding in seconds if your home is a contender or a hard pass. And the signals they're using to judge, they've completely changed from a few years ago. You might think your price makes sense because of what you need or what your neighbor got in 2021, but buyers are using a totally different lens now. There are 3 things they're looking at every single time they open a listing. And if you miss even one, your home quietly slips into what they call a stale property. Let's start with number 1, time on market. If your home's been sitting more than 2 or 3 weeks, you're already behind in the buyer's mind. In this market, speed is credibility. Fresh listings get attention. They feel exciting. There's urgency. Buyers think, should we go see this before someone else grabs it? But if your home's been sitting 20 days, 30 days, 45 days, something shifts. It stops feeling like an opportunity and starts feeling like everyone else already passed on it. That's when the energy flips. Buyers stop asking, can we get in? They start asking, what's wrong with it? What are we not seeing? How low could they go if it's been sitting this long? I've watched good homes in Hamilton lose 20, 30, 40,000 in price cuts, not because they were bad homes, but because they sat too long and the market punished them for it. Once a buyer's thinking like that, you lose leverage. You're no longer negotiating from strength. You're reacting, answering low offers, explaining yourself, and wondering why nobody sees the value you do. Let's go to signal number 2, recent solds, not listing prices, not what your neighbor thinks it's worth, not what your agent promised to win the listing. Buyers are looking at what actually closed in the last 30 to 60 days. Same area, similar size, same condition. That's how they judge value now. And most sellers don't realize Buyers have that data in their pocket. During the showing, they're standing in your kitchen on their phone, looking at the last 3 sales saying, this one sold for $870. This one went for $840. Why is this one at $929? If your home's listed 50 or 60,000 higher, they're not assuming it's better. They're assuming you're out of touch. And when that happens, you don't get to explain. You don't get to walk them through your upgrades from 2018. They're already heading to the next showing. You lose them, and all you see on your end is a listing view with no offer. Now here's the third signal, the buyer gut check. This one isn't math, it's instinct. It's the second someone walks in, feels the space, looks at the price, and makes a decision. Does this feel fair for what we're getting? That's the gut check moment. And here's the thing, buyers rarely say this to your face, they just quietly cross your home off the list. If a buyer says, wow, this feels like a great deal, you've basically won the sale before the agent even speaks. But if they say, yeah, it's nice, but not at that price, you're in trouble. Even if they like the home, they're already thinking, what can we knock off? How much will they take? Or worse, they're gone, on to the next property, and you never knew they were even close. Buyers in 2026 are cautious. Every dollar feels heavier now. Every red flag, every hint that the price is off feels way bigger than it did 2 years ago. You don't need to be the cheapest on the block, but you do need to show value, real value based on what's selling now. Not last year, not your neighbor's story from the boom, not the number your agent pitched to win the listing. Just one question matters now. Can a buyer honestly justify your price in today's market? If the answer is no, you're not getting angry feedback, you're just getting silence. Views without showings, interest without offers, and listings that slowly bleed value with every week that passes. But you're not most sellers. You're here, which means you already have an edge. Next, I'll show you the 3 critical steps you can take right now to protect your equity. Avoid the silent killers we just talked about and actually stand out in this high inventory Hamilton market, especially step 2. That one decision can be the difference between selling near full value or dropping 40, 50, even $100,000 off your bottom line. Let's break down the final 3 steps. These are the exact moves smart sellers are making right now. To avoid regret in this reset, step 1, interview multiple realtors. It sounds simple, but almost nobody does it. Most sellers just go with the agent who promises the highest number, or the one they already know. But in this market, that can cost you far more than you think, because once you sign that listing contract, you're locked in for 90 days. Even if the strategy's wrong, even if the pricing is fantasy, you're stuck riding it out. So before you do that, talk to 2 or 3 agents and ask them these 3 questions. 1, how are you going to market this home online beyond MLS and a sign? 2, what's your plan if we don't get real offers in the first 14 days? And 3, what would you price this at if it were your house with your own money on the line? Then watch how they answer. The right agent won't just try to win your listing, they'll try to protect your equity. Step 2, price for today and adjust fast. This one is mission critical because this market does not reward waiting. If your home doesn't get traction in the first 2 weeks, and by traction, I mean real showings, saves, and serious inquiries, not just views on a website, that is your sign. You need to adjust before the market adjusts for you. Every extra week on market, you're bleeding leverage. Buyers start assuming something's wrong, and that's when the lowball offers show up. Here's the mindset shift you need. You're not chasing a dream number from 2021. You're chasing the highest number the market will actually pay you right now. And if you adjust early, you stay in control. You choose the number, you choose the timeline, instead of letting desperation do it for you. Step 3, use high trust marketing, not just MLS and a for sale sign. You need to be where buyers are already searching in real time. Think about it. You search for a product online, a couch, a vacation, a laptop, and suddenly those ads follow you everywhere. That's not luck. That's intent-based marketing. And you can do the same thing for your listing. This is the kind of campaign I run for my Hamilton listings. So we're not just hoping the right buyer stumbles across MLS. If someone Googles homes for sale in Binbrook, or detached homes in Stoney Creek, or Hamilton homes under 900,000, your home can show up right in front of them. That's not hope. That's strategy. and it's how you win attention in a high inventory market. All right, you've now seen what's happening, why it's happening, and what you can actually do to protect your equity right now. If you're planning to sell before spring, there's one more move that can save you weeks on market and tens of thousands of dollars on your final price. Getting your home listing ready the right way, not the expensive way. I built a free guide just for Hamilton sellers called 7 Simple Ways to Increase Your Home's Value Before the Spring Market, all laid out step by step. So you can go from I hope this sells to we have a clear plan before we even hit the MLS. And none of it involves blowing thousands on random renovations. These are smart, low-cost fixes that increase your home's perceived value, help you stand out in a high inventory market, and avoid the silent killer extended days on market. You want your home to stand out, to sell faster, and to sell for more. Click the link below, download the free guide, read it before you lift a finger or spend a single dollar. And if you want a calm local second opinion on your exact situation, there's also a link to book a no-pressure strategy call with me. We'll look at your neighborhood, your numbers, and your options in this reset. This is your edge in the 2026 Hamilton market. Most sellers will ignore it. Don't be one of them.